So usually the biggest problem that people don't understand to do is kind of capitalize and figure out what a mistake was done when they were trading. And milk is going to be something that's going to stick in your head because everybody knows what milk is. Number one. And number two, what vitamin do you get out of milk? You get vitamin D. It's super duper important that you understand this. And the reason I wanted to kind of showcase this acronym to you guys is because I want you guys to learn it. And it's super duper important. So the first one that we're going to be talking about is the M, and that is mistake. So usually the biggest problem that people don't understand to do is kind of capitalize and figure out what a mistake was done when they were trading. And that means that every time you take a L, every time you don't make enough profit, it's a time for you to recapitalize and be like, what did I do wrong? Why did I not make enough money on that trade? Because some of you guys put in a lot of money in this one, okay? And that's why I'm coming back to this one, just because I know a lot of you guys were in this one. I know a lot of you guys knew the potential where this coin was going to go. I know a lot of you guys knew it was going to at least pass 3 million, which is, if you guys were watching or listening to what I was saying on stream and what I was saying, inside Boltz Alpha, I kept saying, it's going to break all-time high. It's going to break all-time high. All-time high was roughly like around 3 mil. And some of you guys didn't capitalize that, because if you bought at 500 and you wrote it at 3 mil, that was a really good entry, right? So that was almost like a 6x. So if you would have put 10 Solana, that's like almost 60 Solana you would have came up with. Some of you guys didn't come up with that amount. So the main thing I want you guys to remember and keep in your mind is you want to make sure you look at the mistakes you're doing, and mistakes don't always equate to a loss. They also equate to not making enough money on a trade. So you want to keep that in mind. Number two, the I, which is insight. Okay. So this is pretty much recognizing what's behind the mistake. What made you sell? What made you sell too early, or what made you not sell at all? Because some of you guys also have one of the biggest problems is round tripping, right? So round tripping means you bought the coin comes down and you're like, oh, dang, I should have probably sold a little bit earlier. I know a lot of you guys have that issue. Generally speaking, you want to avoid that. So that's the reason we start off with the mistake. Once you identify the mistake, you're then going to get better insight to kind of recognize exactly what you're doing wrong and make sure you stop doing it. Okay. And that leads us to the third one, which is the lesson. What lesson did you learn from actually going over the mistakes and going over all that, right? So it's super important that you understand that some things are going to happen to you when you're trading, and I still make mistakes. I still, kind of like maybe be like, dang, I should have probably sold it a little bit earlier. Maybe I should have not sold, but I'm able to kind of, the mistake doesn't really affect me that much because I have a pretty big bag. But for the people who don't have a pretty big bag, a mistake could kind of just mess up your complete port. And it's kind of like you're starting all over again, so you want to make sure you minimize that and you take note of what you're doing wrong. What I would recommend is get like a notepad and say, we actually have a diary that you option that you guys could do, and that will help you primarily kind of just jot down exactly what you're doing wrong and fix it. So theoretically speaking, you want to make sure you say, okay, for example, on this trade, which I saw a couple P&Ls, and I'm gonna say some of the mistakes people made was you guys were just selling too early, and number two, you already knew the coin was going to do something. You could have made a lot more money, and that's what I kind of want to let you guys know. There are some coins that you know what they're going to do, and eventually you just gotta be patient and wait. We're going to go over the K, and K is pretty much knowledge. Okay. This is basically taking all the lessons you learned from like the M and the I and putting them together, and now kind of putting that into a strategy. And what I mean as a strategy is learning to understand how charts move. And that's kind of like why we built the bot. We built the bot so you could reduce the amount of kind of infrastructure you need to take and a thought process, and you could just run it through the bot inside the Boltz Alpha, and that can kind of spit out to you guys and let you guys know, this is exactly where the coin will probably lose momentum if the coin comes down to this, I would say like this portion or this number. The coin lost momentum, and maybe you need to reconsider if that's a good time to get in or a good time to get out. And it's super important because the knowledge is like the main thing that you want to make sure you have. So what we do here is we go and we look at this coin, and you will notice that once we're in here, there was a couple ways you could have made money in here. You could have actually, bought it down here, gone up, sold up here, sold it as 2 mil. and come down here and bought it again due to the fact that we were just kind of, you guys know, we were literally waiting for the files to be released, and the files weren't released until this thing happened. Okay, you gotta keep that in mind. Even though in Boltz Alpha, I still tell you guys, some of you guys got in at a mil, and you guys still made some really good profit. And the last one, which is the vitamin D one, that's gonna be discipline, and that's gonna be the most important one, because once you learn that all you applied from the milk side, you want to make sure you get the vitamin D. And the vitamin D is discipline. You want to make sure you turn all that knowledge that you got into execution. And if you don't learn how to execute, you're pretty much going to get stuck. Okay. So you want to make sure everything that you're taking, everything that you're capitalizing, or everything that you're doing, you're putting that into one complete package, and you're learning to do that on every single trade. The problem people have, and the reason people lose money, is because they go out of the discipline, they stay away from the discipline, they break the rules are broken, and you start losing money. Like, for example, if you have one Solana and you're like, I'm just gonna bid one Solana into this coin, and you're like, no, man, I really like this Solana, so I might as well throw another Solana. No, you gotta stay disciplined, you gotta stay focused. And once you learn this acronym, which is milk, vitamin D, this is gonna help you guys quite a lot. So hopefully you guys pay attention. Hopefully you guys listened, and this should help every single one of you guys become better traders. And we're going to answer some questions. If you guys have some questions, we're also going to go look at some coins. So hopefully you guys, take this one into consideration, and this theoretically should help you guys a lot moving forward when it comes to trading. And that's, I kind of wanted to leave you guys with this one in particular, which is milk does a body good, knowledge does a mind better.